welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing a romance recommendation video for my favorite trope, the surprise pregnancy trope. Now, first off, to preface, I already filmed this video and I realized I messed up. I didn't have the camera facing the right way. So I had a little mini breakdown about it, and now I'm gonna try and film it again. But if I'm a little low energy, it's because I'm a little frustrated. So anyway, I am really excited about this video though, because I love the surprise pregnancy trope. And I know it's not a trope that everybody loves. Everyone has different tastes. Like, I'm probably not going to be reading any mafia romances anytime soon, but the surprise pregnancy trope is just one of my favorites. So I have a list of 7 books here that I will tell you about, and maybe one day you will give them a try. So first off, I have one that I read quite a while ago, so I don't remember all of the details of the plot, but it is Claiming the Rancher's Heir by Maisie Yates. I really remember loving this book. I loved the steaminess of it. Maisie Yates really often writes under the Harlequin Desire line, so they're very steamy books, lots of fun. If I'm remembering the details correctly, these characters were from opposing wine vineyards. I've read a lot of Maisie Yates books, so I'm really hoping that I'm not confusing that plot with like a different one. And it's not like I have notes from this one at all, because I read it years ago. But either way, it's very much an enemies to lover type of story, and their passion explodes one night and they end up getting pregnant and kind of have to finally meet in the middle, you know, get over their differences, and form a relationship. And at first, the heroine is very determined that she will remain independent. She doesn't want a relationship. She's going to do this on her own. But pretty early on, the hero decides, no, I think that we're going to get married and live happily ever after. And I think you can guess which one of those happens. But it's a very cute story. I remember really loving it. If you don't know, Maisie Yates writes mostly like contemporary westerns, so very like cowboy vibes. So I really enjoy that aspect as well. They're just so much fun. And like I said, the Harlequin Desire line, 10 out of 10. So next, my absolute favorite book on this list is One Moment Please by Amy Dawes. I read this, I think last year now, I don't really remember, but it is just my favorite, one of my favorite romance books of all time. So this follows 2 characters, obviously, and the heroine, she goes, I don't really remember how she meets the doctor, but they have a one-night stand, and that's beside the point. She is on a different date, a blind date. It's going really terrible. He's like really creepy and annoying, and so she goes to the bathroom and is going to climb out of the bathroom window to escape. And in doing so, she sprains her ankle. So she goes to the emergency room, and in the emergency room, they obviously take labs on her. They do a urine test to test for pregnancy, because that's just information that needs to be known in the emergency room. And the doctor comes in and they recognize each other, and he's like, when were you going to tell me that you were pregnant? Like, it has to be mine. Like, we slept together 4 weeks ago or whatever it was. And she's like, I'm what? What am I? What are you talking about? She didn't even know she was pregnant yet. It's just so hilarious. It's such a fun setup. I love getting to see them navigate their relationship. I love how overprotective he is. And he goes from this very independent bachelor with some trauma, and finding like a way to be in a relationship with someone and to care for someone. It's just one of my all-time favorite books. So please, if you're gonna read any of the books on this list, read this one. Next is another book I read quite a while ago, and that is Awkward by Avery Flynn. Now, don't let the terrible title put you off from reading this book, because it's actually a lot of fun. I don't know why she named it that, but this is part of her Ice Nights series, which is a hockey romance series, and it is just such a fun read. She was, I think they were at a party or something, and they meet. He's like a super famous hockey player, and they have a one-night stand, and then she gets pregnant, obviously. And she goes and tells them, and he has to really change his perspective and become like someone who isn't like, you know, the party every night kind of person. Like it really makes him change how he looks at the world, and they fall in love, and it was just really cute. She writes very sweet stories, so they still pretty steamy but very sweet, fun stories, so I really enjoyed this one. Next, I have a more recent read. I read Knocked Up Cinderella by Julie Hammerly. This one was a really fun, like, laugh out loud rom-com. It follows the heroine, who is a principal of a high school or an elementary school, I think. I'm not really sure. And the hero is a like benefactor. He donates a bunch of money to this school because he went there as a kid. It's like a school for rich kids, and he now is like a really successful business person. I don't really know what he did. I know he had to travel to Japan a lot, not really sure why, but they meet at one of the parties that is to like raise money for the school. They have one night together, but nothing really comes of it because he's very much he's not like a boyfriend guy. He doesn't have relationships because he's got some mommy issues that need resolving. But and she has been in relationship after relationship after relationship, and they've all ended terribly. And so she decides, she's I think 40 this year, and she decides, I'm gonna take a year off from relationships. I will have fun. I will find myself and just focus on me. And that kind of gets derailed by the fact that her pregnancy test comes out positive. So she has to go find this guy who is very much like a self-proclaimed, like, I'm never gonna be a boyfriend, I'm never gonna be a husband, that kind of guy. And they have to navigate their lives now and kind of figure out what to do. And it was just so cute, and it was a very interesting story, and getting to watch them both slowly fall for each other and realize that maybe just being friends isn't going to work. And it takes them, like, a lot of the time they'll make like 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and kind of have to go back and forth like that. And it was just really fun to read. And like I said, this one is really a laugh out loud story. I had so much fun. The characters were very, very funny. Next, another one of my favorites is The Goal by Elle Kennedy. Now, if you haven't read any Elle Kennedy books yet, I highly recommend you pick up any of her books. This is the 4th in the Off-Campus series. My favorite of the series, but, well, the first one might still be my favorite, but I love all of her books in this series. She's such a fun writer. This is a college hockey romance, and it follows Sabrina, which for some reason is the one character name I can remember out of all these books. But she is very focused on graduating with good grades out of college. I think it was law school she wanted to go to. I don't really remember. But she has really big ambitions to get out of this town, to get out of the life she's currently in. She has a really bad family situation with a very creepy, I think it was like step-grandpa, step-dad, I don't really remember. But she wants out. She hates them. She wants to get out of here. And she's never really been a big relationship person either. She's always been very focused on school. But Artemis has some things to say about Elle Kennedy. Do you like Elle Kennedy? She says yes. But after one night with the hero, who is on the hockey team, like I said, she ends up pregnant, and they have to kind of navigate not only finding that out, but what their relationship is on top of graduating college that year, and her family situation, and telling all of their friends. It's just so good. Very drama heavy, but it's so much fun. I loved this book so much, and I loved their relationship. He is just so sweet, and she's so smart and so driven. I love it so much. Really, if like I said, if you've not read an Elle Kennedy yet, please read an Elle Kennedy. They're so much fun. Next is another one that I read quite a while ago, but I still remember it as being one of my favorites. It is such a cute story. It is Oopsie Daisy by Iris Moreland. Now this one is a kind of case of mistaken identity almost. I don't even know if that's what you could call it, but these characters meet, I think it was just in a bar or something, I don't really remember, but they meet, have a one-night stand. all's good, all's fun. They move on with their lives. But then the heroine goes into her grad school advisor's office to talk about whatever grad school she was in, I don't remember. And they realize that they recognize each other from that one night stand. I don't remember if she finds out about the pregnancy or about who they are to each other first, but either way, it was a lot of fun. That sort of added level of tension, of drama, was so funny to read. And then having to navigate the rules of their college, whether like they could get in trouble for that, whether he could get fired for that, even though they didn't know like who each other were. It was just so fun to read, and I had a lot of fun just with those like awkward situations of explaining to the family, explaining to other faculty, and it created a really interesting dynamic because technically he was of higher authority, but they didn't know that when they were together, so it was a fun story, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think there's other books in her series as well, but I have not read those yet. And lastly, this one kind of breaks the mold for a surprise pregnancy, but I put it on the list anyway because I feel like it's still pretty much fits, and I love this author so much. So it is The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. I love Sarah Adams. That woman can write a rom-com, and I love her for it. The reason that this one kind of breaks the mold a little bit is this follows a hero who, in the first book, his sister meets the love of her life. She moves out of the house, so he's got an empty room, and the sister's best friend, who is pregnant, but no one knows who the father was, and like she's not willing to talk about it. Her apartment, like, water main breaks or something like that, and she needs somewhere to live, and so the sister volunteers the brother's house. She's like, oh, you can just stay there temporarily while your apartment gets fixed. And so this sort of forced proximity forces them to get to know each other, get to like each other, because previously they hated each other for no reason, just kind of in a jokey way. But and like I said, Artemis really likes all of these books, but it's just a really fun dynamic. And he is a doctor, so it's really interesting to kind of see his perspective and like how he really wants to help her, especially with the pregnancy. If I remember right, I think he was an OBGYN, but she's very independent and headstrong and like does not want his input at all. But he's just like, let me help you. I promise I'm just trying to help. But then they're also like doing prank wars and stuff. So I just had a lot of fun. These characters were so funny. There was a part where they pretended to be engaged at a party that was just hilarious. And overall, the characters just slowly fell in love, like piece by piece, as they kind of peeled back the layers of each other, and got past the whole like enemies to lovers kind of thing. So it's a really fun one. And like I said, it kind of breaks the mold because he's not the father of the baby, but he, you know, in the end is essentially the father of the baby because that guy is long gone. So, and he's the one that they get happily ever after with. So I really liked that one as well. So those are all the recommendations that I have. I hope that you give one of these a chance and maybe pick them up. I love this trope. I just think it's so much fun. It can lead to so much drama and conflict in a romance story that's really interesting to read. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was still okay even after I had to film it a second time, which is super annoying, but I hope that it still turned out okay. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you pick up one of these books. I upload every Sunday booktube content. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.